One thing, above all, can make leadership easier: an enthusiastic team. When your team just wants to roll its sleeves up and get things done, then leadership becomes simply the task of pointing them in the right direction and giving them the resources you need. But the question is, what do you do to create an enthusiastic team? Let's look at 10 things that you can do to create an enthusiastic team. Number 1, planning. It's easy to think that you have some kind of a monopoly on wisdom and foresight when it comes to planning, but you really don't. There are 3 really compelling reasons to engage your team and get them to help with the planning. And first, of course, is that together they have a greater collective wisdom than you have on your own. More heads means more brains. Secondly, involving people in the planning process is a recognition of their experience, their expertise, their judgment, and their commitment to the project. So, actually involving them is highly motivating and will generate enthusiasm in itself. And the third good reason is that once the team has created their own plan, they are more likely to be committed to it than to a plan that has been created for them. It's very easy to disown a plan when things start to go wrong and assert that you never believed in it anyway. If, on the other hand, you were part of the group that created the plan, it's very hard to say that you didn't believe in it, because the question will come back, why didn't you say so at the time? Number 2, scheduling. Far too often when we schedule people's time onto a project, we make the simple assumption of 100% availability. Now, first of all, the problem with this is that it stores up a whole load of difficult negotiations when it turns out that the person you assumed was going to be available isn't in certain circumstances. Secondly, if I am that team member and you're assuming that my availability is 100%, you're effectively saying that my other commitments have zero value. That's going to be demoralizing and it's going to sap my enthusiasm for the project. So a far better approach is to always consult each individual about their availability as you start planning. Create a simple spreadsheet or some sort of a schedule of who is available when, and build your plan based on their availability. And if their time is fungible, at least you know what proportion of the total time they're going to be available for, so that you don't overcommit them. That way, team members will feel confident in making a commitment to your project, knowing that you are not asking more of them than they are able to give. Number 3, progress. Progress is highly motivating, so make progress visible by displaying milestones to the project and celebrating when those milestones are achieved. Publish regular progress reports, and if your software allows it, create dashboards that allow people to see progress in real time. And of course, take every opportunity possible to celebrate success. Fourth, stretching. Give your team members every opportunity to grow and develop as they work for you on your project. And there are 2 primary dimensions in which people will grow on a project. The first is skills, expertise, and knowledge. And the second is the responsibility that you give them. Both are equally important, although each will have its own priority for any given individual at any given time. The chance to develop skills and expertise leads to mastery, and this is intrinsically motivating. People recognize the impact that this can have both on their work satisfaction and on their long-term careers. And of course, responsibility is also vital as we build our careers. Not only does added responsibility grow our character and allow us to exercise our judgment. But as we rise through different layers of responsibility, we are able to demonstrate that to the people around us. Number 5, trusting. If you are going to grow somebody and stretch them by giving them more responsibility, then you need to do it completely wholeheartedly by delegating them the task and trusting them with that task. By all means, schedule opportunities to check in and get reports, and also make yourself available for support and guidance when they need it. But if you're going to get nervous about how well they're going to perform, then the time to get nervous is before you make the decision to commit and delegate to them. Discuss it with them. Once you've made that delegation and trusted them, rowing back on that not only undoes the trust you've given, but somehow it seems to make things a lot worse. If they do get into trouble, then a gentle hand. Help give them advice, but don't take over the task unless something really critical depends on it. And even then, bear in mind that most people will perform better under pressure than you really expect. Your commitment to and trust of the people in your care is a sign of the strength of your leadership. Number 6, communication. In my experience, there is nothing that stifles enthusiasm more than the feeling that I don't know what is going on, or I don't know what people expect of me, or I don't know what the future holds for me. As a result, excellent communication is a vital part of maintaining team enthusiasm. Distribute information and encourage people to communicate amongst themselves. Done well, this leads to spontaneous collaboration, to seamless conflict resolution, and to a real environment of caring among colleagues. Number 7 is environment. Maintain a productive, enthusiastic work environment by becoming like a human environmental controller. Like any control mechanism, you need to use feedback to allow you to dial up or dial down the levels of support and guidance and encouragement that you offer to your team. Feed in new resources when your team needs them, and remove contaminants and distractions that are getting in the way of your team making good progress and remaining enthusiastic about the work that they're doing. Number 8, fizzing bombs. Problems build up, but we sometimes treat them like the fizzing bombs in children's cartoons. That is to say, the bomb is fizzing, getting ready to go off, but we just stare at it, unable to act. What you need to do to keep your team enthusiastic is to show that you recognise the priority of dealing with issues at the early stages while they are small, convenient, before they blow up in your face and damage morale in a long-term and possibly irrecoverable way. Number 9 is brilliance. People want to follow leaders, and often, if there is only one option, they will follow a substandard leader, so your job is to be the brilliant leader that people really want to follow. Define your own leadership styles, approaches, methods, and templates, and choose them to create the environment and the culture that you want for your team. In doing so, be aware of the natural culture and the styles and the preferences of your team members. There is nothing more encouraging than to celebrate what people value in themselves rather than to try to overwrite it with your own value set. However, rooting the culture in a strong value set that you can buy into is vital for authenticity. Ultimately, you need to be prepared to work hard day to day to strengthen the culture and to create that long-term enthusiasm even in the toughest of times. Number 10 is endorsement. Your enthusiastic team will want to work hard for you. So what are you going to do for them in return? There's no need for expensive gifts and rewards. Their role in motivation is often overstated. What your team wants is recognition. They want you to endorse the contribution they're making, the work they've done, and the successes that they've achieved. Endorse it to them and endorse it to the wider organisation. Let people know that you are sharing their successes and triumphs openly with the whole organisation so that their success will be seen by their peers and their careers can benefit from it. Careers are important to people, but let's not forget that one thing that's even more important than that is a sense of pride in your achievement. Because of course, career progression is just one token that symbolises that we have something to be proud of. What's more important is knowing that the people around us recognise our achievements and are proud of us in return. So a simple 3-step process has always worked well for me. Number 1, make the effort to recognise when members of your team achieve something of value. Number 2, reward them. And all it needs is something as simple as praise or even just thank you. And number 3, celebrate their achievements. Celebrate the achievements of individuals within the team and of the team as a whole. And again, this does not need to be anything grand. It can be simple ceremonies set within standard team meetings. Here is the most important thing though. Don't save up all your recognition and praise and lessons learned for the end of the project or the end of a piece of work. Maintain a constant flow of recognition and endorsement and praise and learning throughout the cycle of a project and throughout any of the cycles within your project. Remember that enthusiasm will wane unless you feed it. Feed it with endorsement. Feed it with all of the other things I've suggested in this list. Please do give this video a like if you've enjoyed it and learned from it, because I'll be creating loads more great project management videos for you. So please do subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you don't miss any of them. And I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one.